All right, for my second project, I'll be fixing this busted ass door, dude. Yeah, it's rotted up pretty good. It's pretty disgusting. So I'm going to measure this. All right, looks like it's 31 and 3/8. What is that, a 16? 31 and 5/16. We'll go with 31 and 3/8 on the width. For the height, looks like maybe 79 and 5/8 or something. All right, measuring this is kind of a pain in the ass. All right, guys, here's a pro tip about these storm doors. They only come in certain sizes, like 36 by 80, 34 by 80, 32 by 80, and so on. And those dimensions are designed to fit door widths and heights, obviously, of certain dimensions. So I didn't know this when I took these dimensions, but I was able to pick my door out just knowing. But here's the chart for you guys. If you're actually trying to do this, try to get these dimensions so you can pick out a door that'll actually fit the opening. All right, to Home Depot. All right, I'm at Home Depot. I'm looking for the doors. I can see them down there. All right, I'm looking for a storm door. I should just get it installed. That'd be easy vlog, huh? All right, 31 and 5/8 by 79. I'm guessing my height is probably 80. And the width, though, is too wide. I need to find one 31. All right. Okay. It's probably a 32 by 80. It's probably one of these. The handle is sold separately. I like the left-handed handle, but these are like $75. All right, we need something cheaper. All right. After carefully studying these doors here, I'm going to go with the cheapest one they have. I think it's the one that I currently have here. This looks like my same door, except mine's rotted out. Will this one rot out too? Hopefully not. All right, it's an EMCO 3/4 light storm door. The 100 series. I'll be getting the 32 by 80. Hopefully this works. All right, I gotta go get a cart. Hardest part about Home Depot is just finding one of these carts. All right. To go all the way to the front of the store. Grab one of these carts. Well, the hardest part will be just putting this in my car, probably. After some careful adjustments, I have configured my car so the door will fit in there. I had to take out my baby seat. Look at this thing. Recording in progress. Damn right, bro. The door has been purchased. All right, the new storm door has been purchased and brought it home. Next step, take off this old busted storm door, detach this hardware. I'm gonna start unhook this little hinge here. I already took off the closing actuator thing. All right, I'm gonna remove this hardware. Eventually. Whew. All right, I removed the basic hardware. Now I'm going to go in and remove the actual door. I'm sure the audio is going to be awful. I guess it's still attached by the top. Some of the hardware. Oh, it's probably attached on the underside also. I see what I did. I put a bead of caulk around there to weatherproof the door maybe like 5-6 years ago, and it's what's holding the caulking is holding the door into place. You can see this weather stripping here attached to the trim for the door. I put a bead of caulk in here. Probably was completely unnecessary, but I did it anyway. But that was like maybe like 5-6 something years ago. But so I'm going to take a knife, score this, and then pull this out. All right, this hardware is rusted. I'm going to take my utility blade and do the cool flip move though, and cut out the old caulking. I'll show you a close-up of what I'm doing here. As you can see, here is the trim, and it's got silicone that I put in here, and I'm cutting it out with this knife. Basically like this. This is a pretty fresh blade. I used that GE 30-year silicone, and I did this maybe like 7 years ago. This stuff's still in perfect shape. Trying to be careful of not to damage the wood, but all in all, I'm pretty impressed. All right, this should just peel right off now, and this caulking was holding the trim into place by itself. So, all right, I got one of the pieces of trim out. I'm gonna use a scraping tool to remove the rest of the caulking. You can either use a 5-in-1. This is my weathered 5-in-1 mini projects, or you can use your stiff scraping tool and basically just work your way. Should peel off for the most part, but yeah, so it held up pretty well. Woo! Don't do that. But yeah, you can see. Yeah, I installed this about 7 years ago, so it's still in very good shape. I might sand or touch this up, maybe not, but this is the original door frame. Yeah, it looks a bit weathered, but it's not rotted, so I'll probably just leave it. I work my way around the frame of the door, scraping off the loose caulking material. Comes off pretty easily. Switch between using the stiff tool and the 5-in-1 paint scraper. Just make my way around, not too hard. Yeah, this whole piece of trim is kind of loose. As you can see, the trim is loose in a couple spots, so I'm putting in nails. I'm using the 2-inch common nails, just hammering these in. You want to use nails instead of screws in this application, but it's only like 1.5 inch piece of trim, so it's not that big of a deal. But it was a little loose, and just through securing it with these nails, you can already feel a major improvement. For instance. I'm gonna put one maybe every foot. Someday in the future, someone's going to be like, who put all these big ass nails in the door, in this trim? It's like impossible to take off, but odds are it'll be me anyway. Yeah, the original trim hardware, nails are like, they're all loose and falling out. I don't know what happened. Yeah, not only is this reattaching the trim, it's reattaching the board to the door frame behind it. Yeah, I end up hitting my thumb with the hammer at the end of this scene. It's actually hard for me to watch. It's like a week later, and the top of this basically like pressed my thumbnail through the skin. There you go. Like it happened right there. Didn't look like much, but yeah. Pay. All right, attention. This is the original hardware. You can see it doesn't leave much penetration there. They're using these like what? 1.25 inch screws for or nails for a piece of wood that's like 1 inch deep. As you can tell, I've been replacing them with these 2-inch nails, but on the bottom one here, I missed and I hit my thumb, and it pushed my thumbnail through my nail bed and left a pretty big cut. I'm gonna keep working, you know. But here are the new nails, the new 2-inch nails that I installed. About once every foot. The original hardware is useless, but remember how the trim would wiggle before? It's got no wiggle to it now. It's on there really good. All right. So when removing the old pieces of trim and the new pieces of aluminum trim, remember the corners of the trim are at like 45-degree angles, and they're like razor sharp. So later in this scene, I also end up cutting myself on one of those. So not for a while, though. All right. There's a lot of caulking up there. There was a pretty big gap up there, so yeah, there's a lot of caulking in here. It's pretty gross. I'm gonna have to scrape all this out. All right, I'm putting more nails in the top trim. More 2-inch. I'm gonna put 3 2-inch nails on the top piece of trim. Still got my thumb. Man, it makes me even nervous just to hold a nail. Hopefully I got both thumbs by the end of this video. Now I'm removing the final caulking that's holding the door frame. The door wall. With a fresh utility blade, carefully score the gap between the trim and the caulking. There might not even be any caulking in your situation. I added this, but it should just come off the wall now. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Oh, that thing's pretty heavy. Now the door is completely removed. I just need to clean this up. I'm gonna scrape off the remainder of this loose paint and the old caulking, and then I will unbox the new door, and hopefully I can get this done with tonight. I could drag this one out to the curb. I'm scraping off the remainder of the caulking and the loose paint on the hinge side attachment of the door. Here's a close-up. You can see how I carefully work the 5-in-1 to scrape free the old paint. Make sure your paint is, you might want to get that tested for lead, you know, but if your house is ancient, carefully remove that old loose paint and caulking, and be careful because, again, I do get jammed massive splinter into my finger in one of these next scenes doing precisely this on the inside. In one of the scenes off camera, I'm scraping this trim piece near the bottom, and I'm not too careful, and I take a huge splinter to my middle finger, so I have to take another bandage break, and youch. Just got a massive splinter, like freaking half an inch into my finger. Oh no. That guy sure does seem injury prone. I don't know what's wrong with that guy. Yeah, I took a huge, when I was scraping the caulking off, a huge portion of the wood slid into my finger at least 1/4 of an inch, almost up to a half an inch. You know, the tips of your fingers are the most sensitive points. But, yeah, this guy, very injury prone over here. I got all of the caulking and old paint scraped off. Of course, I see a rain cloud coming up. I'm running out of thumbs and fingers, dude. Say what you will, I'm getting better at this. I mean, I haven't really used nails in like 10 years. Give me a break. That's not going anywhere. Keep your work site clean. Alright, I've completely removed the old door. I reattached the trim using these 2-inch common nails here. Put one about every foot. I removed all the old caulking and paint here. I could clean it up a little more. I could paint it, but it seems unnecessary. If I was really hardcore, I could just replace this wood, but then I'd have to take off this trim, and then I'd have to redo this caulking, and then I'd have to scrape the caulking off the siding, and that would be disaster. Instead, I'm just going to leave it. See edge to open. Cut above the line. There's a line running around the box. It has like a checkered line where you're supposed to cut along and cut around that line so you don't cut into the door. I followed that line and separated the box along that seam. The door is heavy, fragile, and marks easily. It also has razor-sharp corners. I cut myself pretty deeply on the old door when I'm disposing of the old one. But yeah, it's surprisingly heavy. And I learned this, since it's white, anything this door touches, it's going to leave a mark on the door. If you lean it up against the fence, you're going to have big marks on it. If it's on the asphalt, wherever it touches, it's going to have marks. So try to keep it on that cardboard box as much as possible. keep your work site clean and try to keep most of this stuff out of the way. And we're gonna need this box so we're gonna need the box later because we have to do a lot of drilling into the door, installing the hardware independently. You pretty much have to build it yourself. Installation handle kit. Got our fasteners here. Looks like the attachment for the automatic close. Got your cheapo handle. It's like some springs in here. I don't even know what this is, man. The other side of the handle. The other side, the attachment for the automatic closer. And the, what is this, a pneumatic piston or whatever? All right. We got the old door off. Got the new door out of the box. And I still have the majority of my fingers and half my thumbs intact. So, all right, let's get in on this instructions here. All right, I'm gonna take an intermission, get like a bottle of water or something. Maybe a shot of Jack Daniels. Smoke break. I was afraid I may have gotten the wrong door. Remember I told you, if you remember from the original, I think it was 31 5/8. I got to 32 by 80. So we're within the width range of 31 3/4 to 32 3/8. So we're 31 5/8. But the height, remember I said was like 79 and change. This one's 80 to 81, and the small, they make a 78-inch version that's 78 to 79. I'm gonna make it work. First page of the instructions. It's already ruined my smoke break, dude. Some notes during this thought process. If you were going to attempt a project like this, make sure you get your measurements right on the door, because I wasn't sure if I was supposed to measure the actual door or the hole for the door frame. I guess I should take this new door and see if it fits in the opening, because yeah, if it didn't, I should return it immediately and not even proceed. Yeah, and I guess don't put your fingers anywhere near the danger zone. Yeah, I'll be honest, I normally work with screws, so I'm not too familiar with using a hammer. But I do know for like trim work and stuff, you use nails over screws, because nails are more flexible and screws are rigid. They like snap and break, whereas nails kind of bend with as the house and whatever moves over time. So whatever, just some random thoughts. All right. So I did take the new door and I did make sure it fits in the frame. It is essentially the same width. You're right. I could have just taken the old door and propped it up next to the new door and seen if they were identical dimensions. I put it in the frame, and it did seem a little short. Then I remembered it has this bumper thing, this foot, whatever that goes on the bottom, kind of to prevent whatever from getting in there. But yeah, all right. It fits, so that's good. All right, 32 by 80. You need to shim the door if you have an opening of 32 1/8 to 32 3/8. We're fine on there because we're at 31 3/8. Our width is fine. The hardware of the door, that is the interior portion of the door with the hardware on it. All right. Basically a bunch of safety messages. Warning, don't fuck up your hand like this. Whatever, man. And all right, we're doing good. All right, left hand installation for the storm door. This is the interior part of the door. You can tell because the hardware is on the inside, so I'm gonna have to flip the door around. But as you can tell, here are the hardware and the tools I'm gonna need. I'm using my DeWalt drill. Got my DeWalt impact driver here. I've got a variety of different drill bits, and these are my hard metal cobalt drill bits. I have these just in case, and I got a little punch, a Sharpie, some painter's tape there, and I guess we're gonna position this door and get to work on this. All right, for the first step 3A, place the latch side edge of the door frame on the ground. Tip, lay on door carton. Identify the top hinge rail, D. Remove the second and third screw from the top on the hinge side edge of the door frame. Alright, I noticed, I'm looking at the door, and check out how sharp this thing is, dude. I'm going to bend this back into place, but this is just how it came, and it's freaking razor sharp, so I'll clearly cut my hand on that shit if I don't. Oy. Top or place latch side edge door frame on the ground. This is the inside of the door. This is the top, meaning this is the latch side where the latch will be. So now it wants me to take this pure part off so I can attach the hardware, I believe. All right, wants me to remove the second and third fasteners from the top, which are basically the middle two. Yeah, there's 4 total, so they are straight head, so we're going to take those out. The door comes with these tiny white screws holding the trim, like the outside lip of the door on. You have to take these off so that you can, you have to take 2 of these out so that you can install it's a thing called a Z-bar. It's the hinge that attaches the door to the hinge side edge. So you got to take out screws number 2 and 3, and then we have to install the Z-bar, and we have to pre-drill. We have to mark off and pre-drill the holes. I used the impact driver, but I feel like I was scratching it off. But yeah, here's the 2 fasteners. All right, so it wanted me to take this rail's rail D, take the second. You remember how I took out screws 2 and 3? Took out 2 and 3, and then take the bottom of the one that lines up with the bottom here. Re-put that in there, then mark off. I marked with the Sharpie all the other holes, and then it wants me to pre-drill. I marked these all off. Wants me to pre-drill them 1 inch deep with 1/8 of an inch, and then install the 1 inch unpainted screws. You can see I got my cobalt drill bits here. I installed the 1/8 inch bit into this drill. Going to pre-drill these holes. 1/8 of an inch deep. You can mark it if you want. I don't really care. Another thing worth noting is there's 2 variations for installing this door. One is the left-handed installation, and one is the right-handed installation. This is the left-handed installation. That's where the handle will be facing to the left. There's a completely different instructions for right-handed, but yeah, so this is the left-handed installation. It says it in the instructions, but the instructions provide left-handed and right-handed installation instructions. Next thing we're going to do is take these unpainted, it says to take the unpainted hardware, or the unpainted fasteners, in this little mixed bag with the painted and the unpainted, but I assume the painted ones are for the ones that are exposed to the elements. So alright, I'm going to put these in there now. Alright, I'm going to try to do this with the impact driver. Wish me luck. Someone's having fun back there. blow out this dust. Next phase is to install the Z-bar, the D-rail, to the inside of the hinge side of the door, storm door. We're going to attach it using those 1/8 of an inch, 1 inch deep holes that we pre-drilled into the door, and we're going to use the unpainted fasteners to attach the Z-bar. It went on pretty easily for me. Would have been easier if another person was holding it, so it lined up a little better, but all in all, I did this whole job with one man, and it was no problem. Yeah, there was some sawdust and debris from pre-drilling those holes still there. I was just blowing it out, with the breath of air, but yeah, if you got a can of air, shot back, but I didn't want that dust or that sawdust and debris there creating a gap. I wanted I wanted it to be a flush fit, and I wasn't taking any chances. So. Yeah, surprising amount of sawdust came out of it. Surprised didn't come pre-drilled, but it's probably because they want you to drill it yourself, so the fit is perfect every time. I'm guessing. I have no idea. You can see the hardware. The fasteners are these are the unpainted 1 inch fasteners into the holes that I pre-drilled using an 1/8 of an inch bit, 1 inch deep, and yeah, all right, that worked with no issues. All right, on to the next step. Going on to step 3. The next step is to attach the bottom sweep here. Goes on using the 1/2 inch unpainted hardware here. It wants me to do a punch and pre-drill an 1/8 of an inch hole here, and then use the 1/2 inch fasteners. This is a temporary attachment because once the door is installed, I'm going to do some minor adjustments and to get the permanent fit. So yeah, this goes on here like this. Can we do this one-handed? You can see I redid the bandage. All right. You get it. You get the drift of this. All right. Here are the 1/2 inch painted screws. I'm going to pre-drill those with the 1/8 inch, only an 1/8 of an inch deep, and install those. This is, remember, a temporary setup because we're going to have to readjust this later. All right. All right. The bottom sweep has been pre-drilled and installed. The top rail, or the hinge side rail, has been installed. And another smoke break here. I got as you can see, the bottom sweeps attached. Got the hinge side hardware attached. I'm going to go through, attaching the sweep was step 3C. I was looking at the door, though it is branded as ECMO or Elmo or something. Tickle me ECMO, but no. It's actually produced by Anderson, which when all the other higher end door models I was looking at Home Depot were Anderson, major door and window manufacturer. This is probably just their like super cheap budget line. $144 wasn't bad actually, so I was like, whatever, dude. But it's obviously a cheap door, like jagged metal and shit. But it'll work for my purpose now. All right, now here's the part where I wish I had another person to help me. Wants me to take the door, put it into the frame, like rest the sill, set door frame on entry sill so hinge rail is tight against mounting surface and sitting on door sill. Tip door frame into opening, making sure that the bottom of door frame is still resting on sill, with the top and bottom of the hinge rail pressed firmly against the mounting surface. Pre-drill 1/8 inch pilot holes through the top and bottom mounting holes of the hinge rail into the mounting surface and install 1-inch painted screws. The resistance, and then wants me to pre-drill 1/8 inch for the rest of them. This is going to be a nightmare one with one person. I might have to call someone, dude. Alright, it wants me to take the door, prop it up, put it in here, and re-drill and install it while holding it up with one person. Door weighs 70 pounds. Alright, let's try it. Well, here goes nothing. Too low? How is the top trim going to work? Why is everything covered in plastic wrap? Alright, here's the top trim, which is 2 pieces. The first time I tried to install the door, it was about 1/2 inch too low. So I end up having to remove it and like prop it up. But yeah, it ends up being too low, so I have to take it out again. Yeah, it looks too low. I'm gonna have to raise it up about 1/2 inch. Alright. I'm gonna take it off again, reinstall it. Could be worse. I could have installed it all the way. Alright, so I raised it up about 1/2 inch, just so the top lines up better. I'm still going to need to level this out a bit. But you can see I did this by myself. I had to bump it up a bit because it was resting like half an inch too low. So I built this little shim of sorts to temporarily bump it up off the bottom. But yeah. All right, I have my 6-foot level, and as you can see, we are plumb. I wasn't expecting it to be plumb. On the top and the bottom, it is plumb. So I bought this 6-foot level to install some cabinets like 10 years ago and haven't used it yet. So there we go. The door is plumb, so now I'm going to install the rest of the hardware. You can see there's like a half-inch gap. The old door fit flush. I'm going to have to fill that with, I'll fill it with silicone caulking, but yeah, that's easy. But all right, I'm going to install the rest of the, I'm going to pre-drill and install the rest of the 1-inch fasteners. All right, so once pre-drilling all of these, right, 1-inch hardware here. I want painted hardware on the outside and the unpainted on the inside. Got all of our hardware on the outside there. All right, once we open the door and repeat the process. Yeah, that cobalt drill bit is really sharp. All right, now watch me use the unpainted 1-inch hardware here. That one was drilling into something hard, but yeah, whatever. The installation's going a lot faster than the teardown. Oh. All right. All right, looking good. Here's a close-up. You can see the 1-inch painted hardware installed here, all the way down. Got it on the inside. We have the unpainted hardware here, all the way down. And is there one underneath here? I could drill one through. There's an extra. There's one extra. I'll just keep it just in case. The next thing to do after installing the door is to install the rain cap. Basically, rain cap is this piece. It goes in here like this. It sits on top of the rail, and then you close the door, and then you make sure the gap between the bottom of the rain cap or whatever and the top of the door, you make sure the gap is even. You adjust it accordingly, and then if there's any if you can see the mounting surface, you put in this thing called the rain cap extender, and I'm going to install that over so you can't see these nails here. So the rain cap extender is going to go on top of this. Yeah, wish me luck on this. Put it into place. There you go. close the door, adjust the cap. Yeah, I like that. I gotta go back down and get my drill. Storm door from hell. I'm just going for it, man. Whatever. Good enough. Alright, that's even to me. And this is the cap that goes over it. Went easier than expected. Someone's puppy's having a good time over there. I was like, man, why do my hands hurt so much? And I was like, oh yeah, I lanced them like 10 times today. Owie, my fingers hurt. Always remember to use a professional. Now I can only hope. Alright, you see the here is the top guard that I installed. Okay, it's square here. That's what I was worried. Okay, we're square here. Lines up. I have the top. I've got the extender on there. Perfect. Boom. I'm not fucking with it anymore. Just walking away, going on to the final piece. Alright guys, I just completed step 4E. I still can't turn pages with these bandaged fingers. And the sun has set, and my phone is running out of battery life, but we're on the step 5, which is I believe step 5 is the last step in this book. Then the next book will be to install the handle and the mounting hardware, or the door closing mechanism. All right, step 5A, place the latch rail F in the opening with the top end pushed up against the rain cap. Maintain a consistent 3/6 inch gap between the latch rail. Adjust latch rail as needed and the side edge of door. Drill a 1/8 inch pilot hole through the top mounting hole and into the mounting surface. Fasten the top latch rail with a 1-inch painted screw. Recheck to make sure you've maintained a 3/16 gap and drill a 1/8 pilot hole through the remaining mounting holes. Use the 1-inch painted screws from the installation kit. Fasten latch rail to the mounting surface. If necessary, adjust the sweep on the bottom. And door, install the handle. So yeah, step 6 is to install the door handle according to the instructions in that box. Alright, this should be pretty intuitive here. Alright, wish me luck. Alright guys, like I was saying, I'm on the final piece of hardware. This is the latch side mount. It goes in here. This piece goes in here, presses up against the rain cap, and it is adjusted. You adjust this so that there is a 3/16 of an inch gap between the door and here. So I'm gonna manually just eyeball this and screw this in here with the gap, maintaining a gap, something looking like that. And that will be the last of the trim work. That looks pretty good. I'm just gonna put it in like there. All right, I already put the top one in, maintaining the 3/16 inch gap. Yeah, they want you to keep an even 3/16 of an inch gap between that left piece of trim and your storm door. They want it even, so you know, so your door is not lopsided, and so that it closes evenly and flushly. The end is near. I'm missing one screw, but whatever. And I have an unpainted one, which means I probably reverse them at some point. Oh, I'm so close. Alright, where did I use a white screw in place of whatever. The left rail is installed. I have an unpainted screw here. I don't know where my other white one. I'll just paint it later. But yeah, look at that. Have an even gap. And last thing it wanted me to do was to adjust the bottom shim, but it looks good. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to put the handle and the door closer on there now. But yeah, I got all the trim work on. I'm done with the installation guide, the first one. I'm on to the second book. Sorry here. Second book is for the installation of the handle. and the pneumatic piston. So my first issue is wants me to install the handle square center in the door. My issue is I want it to line up with the old mechanism, or the old latch. So getting the, well, I can actually move this really easily. It's just a little piece of metal. So yeah, that's not going to be, I'll put the handle wherever I want, and I will retroactively move the old the old locking mechanism. I probably have to use a new one anyway. So yeah, I was thinking it would have a latch like the door, but not so much. So basically, it has a template. Template goes on the door. Drill 6 holes at 5/16. If you can see that, but running out of battery life and storage space, so might be some, and of course daylight, because it's like almost 9 o'clock now. So gonna take some creative justice on the editing here, and gonna make some major progress. Activate auxiliary lighting. There we go. Booyah. Now it wants me to measure the door 39.5 inches from the top and the bottom to find the center piece for the mounting template for the handle. So I'm going to measure that and mark that off with the pencil, and then install the template. Alright, as you can see, I marked that off at 39.5, and yeah, that's the same for the top and the bottom. Alright, used my square to get a proper line on there, and mark that properly. Might as well, making a video. Alright, you can see here is the center line, 39 from the top, 39 from the bottom. Template tapes onto here. You can see the 5/16 holes here. Tells you to type the template on. Has the door edges here, and alright, that's as far as I've gotten the instructions. Alright, on to the next step. For the next step, it wants you to use a center punch on the holes, and then use the 5/16 drill bit to drill out the holes from each side of the door. Do not attempt to drill all the way through, because they might not line up. Instead of using a punch, which you probably should do to follow the instructions, I'm going to use the 1/8" cobalt the 1/8" cobalt drill bit, and then I'm going to follow through with the 5/16 cobalt. There goes nothing. The instructions say to make sure you don't drill all the way through the door, and in case the holes don't line up. I didn't drill all the way through, and the holes didn't quite line up, but they worked. The hardware, the door handle hardware still was able to attach, even though the holes didn't line up perfectly, but they lined up almost perfectly, so. Whew. Molten plastic on the drill bit. Alright, switching to 5/16. It says not to drill completely through the doors, so I'm heeding their advice. Alright. There are the holes. There's a guy doing 100 miles an hour down my road on a motorcycle. And got me worried. I was like, oh, this has fucked up my door. But yeah, those holes look pretty smooth. I will clean them up with the knife a little bit. We'll trim off the excess plastic there. I mean, I could just pull it off, yeah. And clean the extra plastic out of the holes. and I will install the mounting hardware. You can see, though the holes were drilled independently, they line up almost perfectly, which is amazing craftsmanship there. Yeah, look at that. Lines up perfectly. All right, on to the final step. You can see I'm monitoring the work site from afar while I take care of some administrative issues here. Next step is the handle installation. This is the handle. Comes in a variety of parts. When you buy the cheapest door possible, your handle comes like disassembled, like even the springs and shit, dude. All right. Place the push button inside the outside handle. Place the flat spindle through the latch spring. Insert the latch spindle into the circular boss on the inside of the push button. Figure 2AB. Oh, sure thing, boss. The door handle equipment comes completely unassembled, and you have to assemble it yourself. It's a bunch of tiny springs, a couple screws. It's actually pretty simple, but I didn't really know how it went together, and that long cylindrical shiny metal piece is called a spindle. One of the ends is rounded. Make sure the rounded end goes into the door button piece. You'll figure it out. Check out the instructions. So after browsing through the handle installation instructions, it took me about 10 minutes to line these parts up. You basically have to put them together in your hands and pre-fit them through the holes. When they're pre-fitted through the holes, take a Phillips hand screwdriver and attempt to attach the hardware. I got the top one in on the first try, but for the bottom, for the screw for the bottom hand, I could not get it in. Even though I had the holes lining up, couldn't get it to line up. So I tried loosening it, tightening it again. I did this minute's about 10 minutes long. It's at 500% speed right now, but eventually I get the bottom in, but you can see I'm playing with it for a while and it was getting very frustrated. But eventually the hardware is attached and I can celebrate. Oh. I mean, I'll be honest. It looks like a very simple mechanism. But I had hell lining this up. Let's see if it works with the old latch. Of course not. All right, I'm gonna have to take the old latch off and install the new latch. But that's child's play. All right, to install the latch plate, hold the door closed and mark off where the latch will line up, and then install the striker plate. Oh, you can see the old ones where. Alright. Hold the door closed from the inside and slide the striker plate behind the latch. Mark the mounting locations through the slots of the striker onto the door jamb. Figure 3A. Seems pretty easy. Open the door, remove the striker, pre-drill to 2/32 pilot holes at the marked location. Secure the latch using the two number 6 by 1 1/4 inch screws. Your installation kit may or may not require spacer shims. I'm not putting the shims. All right, I've mapped off where I'm going to install this, and it did ask for a 3/32 drill bit. It's funny, it's like distorting the video because my hand is vibrating. So I'm holding the camera and the drill. Alright, there you go. Alright, I've installed the striker plate and tightened it by hand. It works. Come on. Yes. I like the pressure too. Awesome. Alright, so the handle and the door is installed. All right, the door latch is in place. We just need to put the door closing mechanism in. I need to adjust this down a little bit, maybe like half an inch lower. It's adjustable. I'll do that tomorrow. I need to put fat bead of caulking in the around the trim. I will do that tomorrow also, but I am going to install the automatic door closing thing. I opened the screen door here, opened the window to the screen to get some cool air in here. The final step, the door closer installation. Close the door and measure down 2 inches from the bottom of the window. If installing closer on a full view model door, measure 2 inches up from the top of the window. Mark a line and extend it over to the door jamb. Center the jamb bracket on this line, setting it back 1/4 inch from the Z-bar. Drill 4 5/32 pilot holes at these locations. Secure the jamb bracket with 4 number 10 by 2 inch screws to the door jamb. Figure 4A. Alright, 4A. That looks like we're installing this piece using these 4 of these large. Alright, these are your number 10s by 2 inches. Alright, I guess we're measuring again. Measure 2 inches down from the bottom of the window. I marked a line there 2 inches down from the bottom of the window. And, alright, next step. It's like mark a line and extend it over to the door jamb. Center the jamb bracket on this line, setting it 1/4 inch back from the Z-bar. I'm like, what is a Z-bar? A Z-bar on a door can refer to several different components, including a component on a storm door frame that connects the door panel to the jamb, a strip of Z-shaped metal used as a transition strip between different flooring. Alright, it's that one. So I've marked off the location, and I had to get out another set of bits. This was the Cobalt. These are those cheapo bits, but yeah, it wants 5/32, so alright, I will humor them and use each of their according drill bits, 5/32, just slightly 1/32 larger than 1/8 of an inch when it wanted me to use 1/8 of an inch before, but whatever. Yeah. Alright, let's go drill this. Alright, you can see I marked off these. I left 1/4 of an inch space between the Z-bar, I guess that's what this thing is. Alright. These are pretty far in there. These screws are 2 inches long, so alright, let's go. Alright. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a little janky to me. One of those screws is a bit off. I'm gonna have to re-drill one of those pilot holes. Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna have to redo that last one. Did not line up properly. There are only a few pieces left. Place hold open washer on closer rod. Attach closer to jamb bracket with short pin. With closer attached, extend closer rod approximately 1/4 of an inch and hold it in place with the hold open washer. Extending the closer is necessary to ensure proper door function. See 4B. Alright. This is the thing to keep it open, or this is the hold open washer. Alright, I put the hold open, or they call it the hold open washer, onto the closer rod, which is this thing. I had to pull it out a little bit, and it has force because it's under vacuum or whatnot. Once I have that on there, attach the closer to the jam bracket with the short pin. This is the shorter of the two pins. With closer attached, extend closer rod approximately 1/4 of an inch and hold it in place with hold open washer. Extending the closer is necessary to ensure proper door function. Okay, I got that. The penultimate step. Attach door bracket to outer hole of closer with long pin. Close storm door. Closer assembly. Swing closer assembly so it touches door frame. Alright, so this is the door bracket. I guess it goes on like this. This needs to rotate. Goes in using the long pin. Using the long pin in like this. Alright. So, long pin is attached. Short pin is attached. The open closer washer thing's in there. This is the rod. Now, it had me do the same 2-inch line that I used to center here out to here. This is 2 inches down from the window. It wants me to pre-drill 2 5 and 30 seconds holes and mount it with these two screws. I'm going to do that right now. All right, I have drilled my 2 5 and 3/4 5 and 32nd inch holes there, centered on the 2-inch line for this door bracket, and I have my screws. They make sure in the instructions that you do not drill through the door, so make sure you only go very, you just break through the surface basically. All right, I have the hardware mounted to the door. Let's go for a test run. This is the very first attempt. Let's see if this thing works. Oh, they said final step was to turn off the open closer thing. Looks pretty nice. I guess I could I'll put my latch a little further back so that it will automatically latch. Or I could move the piston in a little closer so it has more power. I don't know, good enough for now. I'll do the fine tuning tomorrow. This is enough work. Yeah, I decided to readjust the bottom here. I'll put some caulking in these holes here, but they're on the inside. But yeah, I got it so it fits flush against the bottom there to prevent insects and such. Yeah, and I'm gonna do silicone caulking on these cracks tomorrow. It should be air and water tight. All right, there's a little Phillips head screw here. You can adjust how much gas is released from the door closer thing, so that you can, if you want your door to close or open or to close slower or faster. So I adjusted it so that my door latches now. All right, I had it so it was latching. All right, so you turn it a quarter turn to the left to, there you go. Now she's latched. Perfect. You can I could do this all day. It's day 2. I'm at Lowe's. I need to get silicone caulking. It's got about a 1/2 inch gap in that trim. It's slightly raining, but it's on the inside, so I'm not concerned. Check out this giant minion, dude.
This thing is almost twice as tall as I am.
So I went to Lowe's. They had Supreme, 100% Supreme silicone. They had a whole bunch of different types. Seemed expensive and confusing, so I ended up just going back to Home Depot.
Lowe's was a bust. I'm going back to Home Depot.
I mean, Home Depot clearly did not put any effort in their Halloween decorations. As you can tell, they're all still boxed up on the left.
So you got 100% advanced, 100% Supreme. You got Advanced Pro. It's just marketing, I believe. This guy sure does like to record a lot of garbage at Home Depot. They had a deal on mums here. I'm making a bucket of soap and water. I'm going to wash down the frame of that door before I put in the silicone. Gonna cut it at like 45-degree angle. No separation of digits. Alright. Cut that off at 45 degrees. Thing, you know. Whatever you call that silicone gun thing. Alright. Perforated the silicone sealant. Caulking, whatever you want to call it. And next, we are pretty much good to go. Load the canister. Prime the pump. And let's get to work. Actually, I have a couple of these tools I recommend. Basically, this is a silicone tool. They go on, they're for doing like corners. You know, these are the dimensions for the corners. I don't know if that's in millimeters or whatnot. But these tools also can be used for keeping your cleaning the caulk. So you want, makes it so you can have like a straight edge, straight lines, you know. All right, I'm just going to start at the top and go down, and I will repeat this process on the top and right side.
All right, this gap was pretty large, so it used a lot more silicone than or sealant than you normally would use in this type. And this video is at 750% speed, so yeah, 7.5 times how fast I'm going. And yeah, it looks like I'm going pretty fast, but this probably took me like 10 minutes to do this door. But yeah, take your time because the stuff is really sticky. Anything it gets on, it's like hard to get off your hands. Have a little cup of soapy water also. Helps for cleanup, and use the scraping tool.
All right, you can see I've put the caulking in the gap there. I just need to smooth it out. You can do that with using that tool that I showed you, or you can just take this is soapy water. Just take your finger and you can smooth it down. Get a nice edge there. Look at that, looking really nice. All right, you can see I have used my finger to smooth out the line there, and I'm going to use this. See how there's like some areas with a rough edge? I'm going to go over that with this tool here, and you can see it will remove the rough edge there. All right, as you can tell, that seam is looking pretty clean. Yeah, check that out. Looking pretty good. The lower you get, the worse the job gets. There's some rough spots. I'm not gonna fuck with that. I'll just leave it. But this is the after. This is what the before looks like. All right, with a soapy finger, I will show you how to do this here. Just kind of get the, kind of see what's going on right there. All right. I mean, it looks pretty good for the most part. Looks pretty fucking good. All right, I went over that a second time with my finger and looks virtually seamless. Not bad. All right, I made it 90% of the way before I ran out. I haven't smoothed this joint out yet, but you can see there's like a foot left. So I actually have an extra tube here, so two tubes wasn't enough. Whatever. I'm gonna smooth this out and then grab the other tube of caulking and finish off this project.
2 canisters of that sealant only made it about, I mean, maybe like 80% of the way. So I had to go back to Home Depot and get another container of that sealant.
This guy even loves Home Depot more than me. He painted his car the freaking Home Depot orange. All right, let's finish this job. Whee! All right, the caulking phase of this project is complete. You can see this seamless transition here, all the way from top to bottom. All right, I still need to clean up the frame a little bit, and I'm gonna paint these sides eventually, but I noticed a massive improvement already. The old door was not like airtight. This thing is close to airtight. When I try to open the outside, the main exterior door, there's a vacuum here, and you have to break like the air bubble basically. There's like a little bit of a vacuum, which there wasn't before, which makes me optimistic for the winter months. This door did not insulate well. I mean, the original door did not insulate well, nor did the storm door. But yeah, I'm optimistic that this will create a barrier of air and help keep my house a little warmer in the winter. Check out this fucking gash, dude. Cut myself on this piece of metal of the door frame. Disassembling this to put it in the trash. That's pretty deep. I'm gonna need a butterfly bandage on that. Here's Alan. Yeah. Stupid.